This is my Monroe. Monroe loves to run, play, jump, leap, pounce, and of course, climb things. We love spending time playing out in nature and outdoors exploring and adventuring. However, sometimes we're indoors as well, and to enhance our time spent inside, I thought it would be a good idea to purchase for Monroe the Bel Air Kitty Mansion. So Monroe and I just received our Bel Air Kitty Mansion tree tower. We're excited to open the box and discover what's inside. We'll begin with lining out the parts, and then we'll begin the construction of our tree tower. As a side note, upon opening and unboxing our Bel Air Kitty Mansion, we discovered that while pictured online and the side of the box there appeared to be dangling mice suspended from the 3 tiers, we actually have 3 dangling puffs. We have 3 different kinds of scratching posts. There's a short scratching post, there's a medium scratching post that has the screws in the bottom, and then there's the longest of the scratching posts. Let's make sure we've got all of our hardware. We've got 2 different Allen wrenches. 4 connecting rods, part A. 9 medium screws. Looks like we only actually need 8, but they do include an extra, and those are part B. Part C is 1 long screw. Then we have 4 short screws, labeled part H, which is rather mysterious because nothing on the instruction sheet is named part D, E, F, or G. It seems to just skip from C to H. And finally, 1 washer. All right, so this one's for my girls just to prove that we don't need a guy to get things done. So we're gonna pull 2 of the shorter scratching posts and 2 of the longer posts. Our best guess is going to be that because we have the nameplate here on the base, that this is likely going to be the front of the tree tower. So if we gauge based off of that, that would mean we want our shorter scratching post to be up front. So we'll go ahead and get that attached now, starting with the shorter scratching post and 1 of the B screws. So There are actually two different sizes on the Allen wrenches, and trial and error has demonstrated that the larger of the two is what's needed to tighten these in on our base. The shorter posts are now attached to the base. Now we're going to go ahead and attach the longer scratching post to the base. Okay, so we are locking in post number 4 into our base, and that is the first piece of our tree tower completed. Okay, so for our next part of assembly, we're going to need this piece. It's going to end up getting mounted on the taller of the two scratching posts. And then it looks like, according to our diagram here, we're going to be placing the bigger of the two kind of cozy hideaways on the front where the two smaller scratching posts are. We're going to use 2 more of those B screws for the cozy hideaway, and then
connecting rods, part A.
But they are going to be what we attach this platform with. The screws are actually going to be going downward, and we're going to try to line them up with our scratching post. I'm just finishing up attaching the screws inside of our little cozy hideaway here. Just using the same Allen wrench as we used a moment ago for our base. I'm just locking in, making sure the screw is tight. There we go, I think. Okay, so for our next piece here, we're going to use our
connecting rods.
And we will not need the Allen wrench for these. We're just going to simply use our fingertips. Screw that into the top of the taller scratching post. You're good to move on to the next one. Take our platform and set it, just line up the holes, and they're just going to come right through our platform. This is going to put us in place for our next step, which will actually be attaching 2 more of the taller scratching posts. So, all right. So for our final step in our phase 2 portion of the building the tower, we're going to incorporate one of the smaller scratching posts, and we will be attaching that also with one of the B screws and the Allen wrench. Okay, so we're going to send this screw up through the top of the cozy hideaway, and we're going to place our scratching post over it. Give it a little bit of a twist here, and go ahead and tighten it a little more. So that completes step 2 of our tree tower, and now we're ready to move on to step 3. We're going to be attaching this platform piece, and it looks like we'll be utilizing these
connecting rods,
which are labeled as A on the diagram. So I'm going to start with these, attaching the A screws. Okay, so I'm going to place the platform, and since we have our A screws in, I'm going to try to go ahead and line those up. Don't put the C screw in just yet because it's actually part of attaching our other hideaway spot here. There's going to be one screw that runs from the base of our hideaway down through the platform. So we're just gonna line those two spots up. And then you can go ahead and start locking in the C screw. Okay, and then our next part of part 3 is going to be a couple of the scratching poses, the ones that had the screws protruding out of the other end of them. That is what's going to attach here. So we can go ahead and grab those. And with the screw portion facing up, I'm gonna go ahead and twist those on. For our final portion of part 3, we're going to take one of the shorter scratching posts. This one also has a screw out of the top of it. That will be facing up. And then there's one little hole right here at the top of our hideaway. That's where we will be attaching that post with using a B screw. Right here, connecting our top scratching post into the smaller hideaway area is where our washer goes. Again, it's going to have to come up through the hideaway spot into our scratching post. So we're just gonna bring it through and then line up the scratching post with the B screw. Part 4 of our assembly, and we're going to be placing our little cozy spot beds at the top of these 3 scratching posts. All the beds are the same size, and of course these scratching posts have the screws already protruding out of the top of them, so we're just going to match those up with the openings that we have at the base of the beds, and in doing that should be able to just twist this on. Our final step of part 4 of our assembly is going to be to attach the 2 ladders. One's going to go here, and then one's going to go at the front of our tower tree. And we're going to need the smaller of the 2 Allen wrenches to attach the screws that we'll be using, which are the H screws. We're now attaching our ladder. You kind of have to get under it in order to line up the screws with the insertion points. And do one side at a time here. It just makes it a little bit easier to try to get both of them lined up. And twist the screw in initially with your fingertips just to get it started, and then you can use the Allen wrenches to make sure that it really is locked in. Now we're going to attach our other ladder. And it looks like for this one, our screw is actually going to go down through the larger of the 2 hideaway cozy houses. And again, I'm going to start with one side at a time, lining up from underneath, finishing up the final ladder. All right, so here is our completed kitty mansion, and it was quite an adventure because there wasn't a whole lot of guidance in the instructions. You really kind of just had to go off of the photos and decipher it out the best that you can, but we made it through it. So this is Monroe, and we're gonna find out what Monroe thinks about our tree tower, whether it's a paws up or maybe a paws down. So Monroe, you wanna test it out? What do you think? So I think our verdict is Monroe gives our kitty tree tower a wink and a paws up.
Monroe loves to relax at the top of his tree tower in the cozy plush beds and in the hideaways. To create more interest for Monroe, in addition to the dangling puffs, I incorporated a dancing mouse.